Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends, seen on internet 24 hours a day. To view our immense catalog, type in via YouTube, in capital letters, RBRIMO. I want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide, and especially I want to welcome a very talented co-host, Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Ron.
Mrs. Jackie Williams.
Hi, Ron.
And Mrs. Denise Smith-Allen.
Hi, Ron.
Scandal, Detroit Public Schools. It's in a mess, folks. It is in a mess. Hundreds of schools have been closed down in Michigan because of the state of Michigan's emergency manager laws. Teachers are not getting paid on time. They're spending their own money on books, paper, pencils, computers, etc. Many buildings are infested with rodents, mold, no heat, inferior administrators, teachers, violence. How do we intend to make our society productive with all this incompetence, primarily directed and affecting our children's education? Who would like to tackle this?
I like to say that even though this is a Detroit schools, public schools, there is a common denominator in the name of Donnell Early. He is also the emergency manager in the school system that is overseeing the finances. And just like he failed in Flint, he is failing there in Detroit as well, unfortunately, because he was appointed by our Governor Snyder also.
Right.
Well, also he was a failure in Benton Harbor as well as Saginaw, and why Snyder keeps putting these incompetents, you know what I mean, in different places. And as Jackie indicated, he's been a failure everywhere he's been. But yet, the taxpayers are spending $225,000 plus expenses with this on this idiot.
Well, Ron, I think you have to put failure in a perspective because he's on a mission. I look at him like a mercenary, like a soldier who's been ordered to go in and slash, budgets. So he's going to go in and look at what can go. And I don't think he's really concerned about what's going on with the people so much as what the bottom line looks like. And if he can help save money, then that's successful. Because if it was not successful, then he would not have been moved 3 and 4 different places. So he's following an agenda we don't understand nor do we appreciate. But the bottom line, he is doing a job, and the job is to make sure that the Michigan saves money. And so he's doing that at the expense of health, and at the expense of children's education, at the expense of, just the humanity. Because, he's getting a salary and he goes home at night. And when he's done there, he's going someplace else.
But also, too, Denise, this is on record, that every assignment that he has had, all right, whether it's Benton Harbor, Saginaw, Flint, or Detroit, these systems are more in debt than ever. So I don't see where he's saving money. Okay, in fact, he's spending more of the taxpayers' dollars. This has been documented. Okay, so what his role is or assignment is, I mean, obviously he's failed miserably. Okay, if his job was to cut costs, he's not by himself. Every one of them emergency managers primarily, all right, have increased the deficit in these schools at the expense of the students and the teachers.
Okay, but I still go back to his experience here in Flint, whereas certain things were sold off, like our trash. Our trash trucks were sold off, and we had other properties that were sold off, again, to save money or to recap or regroup in terms of the financial situation here. Now, we know that it devastated us in various ways, and most recently it's the water crisis. But overall, if you look at what the intent was, it was to save the state money and save the local government money. And that was his job. And that's what he did. And if he wasn't effective on some level of doing that, I still stand by the fact that he would not be moved again. They would have removed him and maybe replaced him with someone else. But he's been 4 places, as you indicated. So if nobody else is happy, the people down in Lansing are happy.
Well, I think he's like J. Edgar Hoover, all right? In my opinion, I think he's got something on Snyder or his boys or something. All right,
perhaps
where you were going.
I can't see how, the governor would appoint, this guy unless he had some stuff that the government or somebody in higher government doesn't want disclosed.
That remains to be seen.
Mr. Hatter, what is your...
Well, I think it's risky for the governor to cut costs at the expense of schools and health care. Mm-hmm. That is the worst situation that can happen to a community. Mm-hmm. It's where the schools are cut to the bone and kids are at risk due to health care problems. I can't believe that that's one of the key points that the governor wants to make, because those are not indicated as part of his platform from the information and communications that I get that's relative to his position on all of these. So the governor needs to take a look at that again, particularly if schools are exposed to tremendous health care problems and safety problems in Detroit. But there are other things that can wait, but not health care and the schoolroom dollars that are needed to drive the schoolroom.
Mm-hmm. And then with this mold and the vermin and stuff like this is, this is disease. Okay, you get mold, and then you get issues. All right, psychological issues and things that much different in terms of health issues than that Flint River water.
And I think the teachers walking out like that and sleep outs and sick outs and all of that devastates. That multiplies the problem there, because kids need to be in school 86 days a year, and if they're not being there, then the school district, the State Board of Education has to decide whether they move these kids through to the next class or whether they hold them back because they are not complying with state law for education. And I'm sure that many other school districts who see this as a gift to one school district may be negative to other school districts.
But
they will speak out on that.
I understand that children should be in classrooms, okay, but and I applaud those teachers, all right, for not showing up and closing things down, because again, you get no respect, all right. They've had all kinds of meetings, all kinds of school board meetings and things of that nature. They have bent over backwards, from what I understand, okay, to address these issues. nothing has occurred.
All their concerns have fallen on deaf ears because it was statements that made by Early was that, okay, I understand that the conditions are not what you need them to be, but I just need you to go back to work. But go back to work at what cost? Because you're costing people their health, and then when things happen, then you have to fight for you to get coverage and fight to do this. And so I just think it's very unfair that they even have to be put in that position, because the pictures we looked at the gym alone, where there's mold in the gym, where there's been leaks for over a year, and it's just open mold, and it's seeping down the hallways where they have to constantly come out and put some cleansers so that they can even stand it. Those are not regular conditions that they should have to teach.
I agree with you.
And so there's no salary that is acceptable to have those conditions. So I commend them again for walking.
Well, I don't. I think it's negative. I think that teachers are sacrificing kids for their own
So where
egos.
should they go to teach them?
I don't know, but the classrooms are provided for them. That's their community. You got to make it work. If we put our heads together, we can make it work for kids.
But who are you gonna put your heads together with?
With the other school, the people in the school district.
Superior is Darnell Early. They're talking to him and
I'm
he's
not
telling them
talking-
And
that
the
he's
school board does not have any authority because
Right, Darnell Early
Snyder
is
took
the guy
all
that
that
they have
away.
to talk
I know, but I'm not talking about people together joining themselves together to make it better for school, for their students. Other people around the world, as they did to Flint, they come in and help us correct us. Believe me. But the people who run the school districts, the one who function every day, whose hands the kids' education are in, need to do their job and be diligent about it, and then you get the rest of the world moving in.
So they're supposed to go into a classroom that has, rodents, that has poor lighting, that has paint peeling off the wall and all of that, because that's the only environment that's available to them.
Yes.
And they're supposed to go in there and teach.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's what you just said.
That's what I said.
You say that's what they're supposed
What
to
do you put first? Do you put your egos first, or do you put the kids first?
Put the
you
schools
can
first.
win if you put the kids first, but you can't win if you're going to fight the
But
government.
how can they learn in these kind of environments?
They've been in those environments for years.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
But hang on.
When they get to that schoolhouse, all right, they should feel safe.
I agree.
All right,
I agree.
and they should
Talk
feel
about
and the teachers should feel safe.
comfortable.
Okay, not having to worry about I got to wear 6 layers of clothes because the heat don't work or the windows are broke. Okay, I gotta bring an umbrella so when it rains, the water doesn't seep through the
Right.
ceilings. Okay, on me.
Ron,
How
we're
am I
not
going to
talking
learn?
about extremely severe conditions.
How I'm going to
We're talking
learn?
about conditions that
Without
they can
books
deal with.
or computers. Okay, how? No
Right.
pencils and papers.
Please don't jump to
You're
extremes.
dealing with a world, Henry, and this is not an ideal situation, my friend.
Yeah, but you got to look at. You can't push the government around. It won't move.
Sure you
like that.
can.
No, you can't.
Sure, you can.
Because the people of the state of Michigan
people are the
is
government.
the bottom line. And they believe that everybody should keep their commitments. The people do. The people will come out and address your issue for you. But you got to make the first steps. You got to be believable in what you do. You got to frame something that's workable to demonstrate that kids come first to you.
Well, what do you do after you've tried and you've tried
Oh,
and you've
Ron,
tried
we're
and you've
going back
tried
in
and
the
you've
past.
tried?
well, help me
you get
understand.
sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, but we got to look at this thing with a positive brow.
But Henry, let me ask you.
Yes.
Let me ask you the progression.
Yeah.
You have a school board that
Yeah.
functions. Okay, I'm saying you have a school board.
Yes.
They make the decisions. They help to figure out where the money should be allocated for the schools, for repairs, all those itemized expenditures. And then suddenly you have someone that says, you're not doing a good enough job with this, so I'm going to place somebody over you, and he or she is just going to make a carte blanche decision, and this is going to stand.
Right.
They
And
just
in the
pissed off all the people.
Yeah.
Well, but this is what it is. This is what it is, and I'm asking you,
But-
what kind of solutions are you talking
Those
about?
people have to say, now, do I listen to this yo-yo first, or do I encumber my kids first? Because that's what parents want to see from you. That's what the taxpayers want to see from you. That's what people of good minds want to see for it. Do you have the ability to work under these conditions, then come bring your kids? Sorry.
My goodness.
Well, I suggest Snyder bring his kids to the Detroit public schools and see if we could teach them in those environments.
Well,
And early too, and his grandkids.
early
So since kids are so important, let's bring your children there and see if they can learn anything in those conditions.
but I would hope that if my kids went that there would be teachers that would do that for me. If I was in such a condition, I wouldn't want to see my teachers turn their back on my children.
They don't want to, but they're backed
do.
into a corner.
The egos
all right?
will let them do that.
I don't think it's the egos. I think it's the conditions. It has nothing to do with your ego because if
It
I have
does.
no, because they have already went through protocol. They went to him and they told him these
You
conditions.
can't push the government around if it doesn't have the money to feed a budget.
We
that
do have the
support.
money. You got to stop giving it to your friends. We do have the money. You do have money to
You have
get
no
them out
proof
of this
of that.
situation.
Yeah, see, you're making an
Stop
issue
giving
out
that hundreds of thousands of dollars to your supporters. All right, that don't do a doggone thing.
Oh, Ron,
Okay.
you're mixing two different.
No, Henry, we gotta
Ron,
wake up and smell the roses.
You're mixing two different kinds of monies. One is a political money. The other is a governmental money derived from tax sources, and that's the
Then
money.
the
that
taxpayers aren't
protects the
getting their
interest
money's
of school.
worth. Then
But we
okay.
also award contracts with tax money.
So, well, things have to get done.
Right.
Of course they
That's
do.
my point.
Yeah. Well, I don't
my
know.
point.
Things
Okay.
have to be. I don't know how.
We have money for
I don't
that.
see the connection there, but I understand what you just said. But you guys got to let government work.
It's not working.
Well, you got to give it a chance to work.
Government
you
is broke.
got to do your part.
So what I have to do? Die in the classroom before somebody hear
no,
them?
you're going over to extremes. You're not talking about this in a calm, quiescent accent so that people can listen to you. People can understand what they need to do. But people don't listen to you when you yell and shout.
Who's yelling?
Go back and play the show over again.
Am I yelling at you?
No, you're not
Okay,
yelling.
but let me just say this. I'm asthmatic. So your take on this is totally different. I'm asthmatic. So that means that if I go into a room with mold or anything, I'm already compromised.
with you.
No, let me finish. I'm already compromised at breathing. So if I go into a room that has mold everywhere, I'm not going to be able to breathe. And then what I am breathing is going to infect my lungs. And it's going to make me sick. And so I'm going to have issues.
You want to move to Clio where that doesn't happen.
Oh, see.
Now, the people out there would
Okay.
never let their kids.
But do you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
I'm
I'm
talking
hearing
about
you.
the people. The people.
So why
They
should
would
the people
never
in
let
Detroit?
the kids walk around in mold and water and feces from rodents and
So
stuff
why
like
should
that.
why should the parents in Detroit allow that?
Huh? Because they do.
No,
Yes, they do. Stop and think. Do you guys know what it means to be an advocate for schools?
Absolutely. And and for one thing, a parent is the child's advocate. If the child
No, it's got to be multiple advocates.
Yeah, well,
It's gotta
certainly.
be
But I'm saying, the primary advocate, and I am so sure that those parents went to the school board to complain about the conditions in which their children had to attend school. The teachers complained.
Why didn't they investigate that with the health department, whose responsibility
Well,
it
that's-
is to protect the kids' health?
Listen, Henry. Now, I'm not down
Take the
there.
journal down, take the Detroit Free Press and the news with you.
Henry,
Yes, ma'am.
we don't know all of the
Yeah, you're right.
we don't have all
I
that
agree.
data.
I'm sorry.
Okay, but we can say this, that I'm sure that there were procedures that were followed
Oh, yes.
before we got to this point. I'm sure that there were.
But the health department was the next step.
The health department, okay, has been in there.
Ron,
The
I wanna
news
see
media has been in there. That's why it's public notice. I mean, it's public information now.
that. What
All
are they
over-
doing
all over the
to
world.
correct it? What's the news media doing to correct the problem?
They help
What's the
reporting it.
health
They're
department doing?
reporting it, and
Yeah, but what are they doing to effectively help the problem? Just reporting it, making news?
no, they're doing a lawsuit. They have a lawsuit filed.
But the kids are not being served by the lawsuit.
No, but
Not
it's
immediately.
just. But that's going to help their conditions, because I guess you won't listen to anybody else. So maybe you'll listen to a law, or you'll listen to a judge tell you that
Oh, yeah.
you have to have the dark kids, and that's what their whole ploy is.
But that needs
their
to
kids-
happen post haste.
Yeah.
And that's why this judge is here last week all right, refused to accept, all right, Early's request
The
for
injunction.
injunction, okay, because she knew what's going on in these schools, all right, and the deplorable conditions that the staff had to work under, okay. Early don't give a shit about nothing but his $225,000 plus expenses, okay? And he's taking care of his little stooges, okay, that are making money that they shouldn't.
Top heavy.
You know, I think that the picture would be, if you can put up with me for a minute, because I got a little heartburn on me about Detroit. If you remember, individuals who worked for the school district when it was 250,000 students, they had limousines, they had credit cards, they stole food at the cafeteria, they were stealing from kids, they left all of the computers in the basement, and they were ruined. They were not attending the store, and there's evidence to support that, and it's printed in the press, and you can go back and pull this up as part of your investigation if you would like to know that. And all the people who steal from systems like that, I would never forgive people who steal from kids.
What happened to those individuals? Anything?
I don't know. I don't
See, then
know.
that would be interesting to find out.
But you live in a city that protects its own, and will yell.
I don't know if they protect their own, because they show their own. They show prosecutor Kwame.
Well, Kwame needed to be prosecuted.
Yeah,
he
and-
stole from the people.
But he was one of their own, and they prosecuted him.
Right,
Well,
right.
Yeah.
prosecuted
Well,
him.
what about all the people who stole from kids? Kwame didn't steal from kids.
He stole from
the
enough,
people.
but still.
He stole from the state of Michigan. But we're talking about kids here. And I know that. And so when people think about Detroit, what do they think about? All the kids that have suffered over the years through bad management, bad politicians, mishandling of money, mishandling of computers and contact, and not engaging in student education. Because I hear the stuff.
How do we stop that?
I don't know. Yeah, you have to do like the Chinese do. Take them out, dig a long trench. Take them out and stand up at the edge of the trench.
Oh boy.
Well, I agree with you on that part. You know what I mean?
So those individuals won't do that
You
again.
know what I mean?
Those individuals
That's what the
won't.
Chinese do. They line
I
them
knew you
up,
guys knew that.
put one in the back of the head, in a heartbeat. Maybe that's the way to go for
Who
those
steal from
for
kids?
those people, you know, here in America. Okay, maybe that will
There
send a
should
message
definitely
to
be some
these ones.
consequences. There
Right.
definitely should be some
You know?
consequences.
I'm not advocating violence or anything, but
Well, you just said somebody should get a bullet to the back of the head. I don't know how
You
more
know.
violent that could be.
well, I'm
but-
saying what the Chinese do.
Okay, well,
Let
I'm
me
just
clean
trying to
that up.
understand that.
I'm not
just-
Right. It
advocating
seemed like
violence.
you were celebrating.
yeah,
Just
okay.
saying.
But Henry, you brought it up.
And you know what they do for kids that don't go to school to behave? They have these canes, these bamboo canes. You remember the story? When the kids went to China and these two kids were out, they said, well, we are Americans, powerful, pump us, and we'll just spray this car with a little bit of paint. And they were doing that. Don't you remember? when
Yes,
they-
I remember the spray painting incident.
And you know, those kids
Got
have never
caned.
been in trouble again.
They got caned.
Okay.
They got caned. Yeah.
Well, maybe we could start with the politicians
Yeah, you can start
don't do due
politicians,
diligence, huh?
Yeah.
You know, Early, Snyder.
The
But
trench.
people
And all
should
the rest of
never.
them.
But people should never steal from kids
No,
or
No.
old people.
Oh, you should never steal.
Yeah.
exactly,
You should
exactly,
never
exactly.
steal.
I hate a thief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, or somebody that.
But there are
that
times
fudges-
when there are
Misappropriation
Fudges
of
the
any
books.
type of
But
funds
there are
is
circumstances
just
when you're
wrong.
hungry, and body and soul is about to leave each other.
You'll steal.
Yeah.
Bless your
There are
heart.
circumstances.
So you're saying that's when you.
I haven't done it yet, but I
But
haven't.
that's what your intention is.
If I would get there, yeah. I would.
Well, I mean, when people are pressed, they do. But I wanted to just say that one last thing is, to me, when the judge made the ruling against him making the teachers go back to work, that spoke volumes because she had reviewed the information. So it's bigger. It's a bigger story than what we see. So it's a lot of details that I would love to see what's all entailed inside of it. So it's bigger.
And the press needs to play a bigger role in this.
Yes.
Of course,
and exposing.
And
yeah.
the press has lost a lot of credibility too, because they're in bed with their sponsors and things of that nature, and a lot of people don't know this, but when these newscasts come on, a lot of that stuff has been edited. All right, you got an editorial board that looks at all of this stuff. Okay, and if they don't want this told, it's not going to get told. Okay,
I know.
and it shouldn't be that way. The press should be free. Okay, to do what it was designed to do. Okay, tell the truth. And let the rest of it fall wherever it may.
Without fear or favor.
Exactly. But that's not the case, it seems, anymore.
Right. Well, one of the nice things about it is that we don't have to deal with just one source of information.
Right.
You know, we need to do our due diligence in looking at various news sources so that we can kind of pull that together and come up with some informed decisions. Okay.
And we got to take all of our biases out of coming up with conclusions, coming up with strategies that are effective and that will last. And that would support the vision that we have and its outcomes.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, you were talking about the press there, but you're right about the press. It needs to be part of this investigation and solution because it's there to point out to people, the people of the state of Michigan, when things are not right. And I recall that I had sent a letter to the editorial staff at the Flint Journal and outlining my own perspective that the black middle class started in 1941 and yet it went unnoticed. And it was the responsibility of the press, churches, universities, colleges, and the Department of Statistics in Washington. But they never said anything. They said that they were going to help me write it. They wrote the story and printed the story and took the storyline from me.
With that, unfortunately, we must bring the In My Opinion show to a close. But I want to thank our millions of viewers worldwide and our excellent engineering staff, Miss Denise Smith-Allen, Miss Jackie Williams, Mr. Henry Hatter. This is Ronald B. Robinson and friends saying until next time, stay focused.